We are now joined by Associate Professor Orkhan Valiev, Head of Department at Kazare University. Welcome, Mr. Valiev.
Thank you for having me.
My first question is, how should we interpret President Putin's recent comments on Azerbaijan-Russia relations?
Just briefly, the relation between two countries has historical background, specifically after the independence. But it's clear that after the crash of the airplane and the following the issues, the relations can be discussed, and disputed issues, something like that. But however, the relations between Azerbaijan and Russia is differ from other cases because, as the President Aliyev mentioned clearly, Azerbaijan is not interested in declaration. Azerbaijan is interested in cooperation. But just as President Aliyev mentioned in an interview with the American TV, that just interested in the certain punishment in terms of the crash of airplane and so on. The partnership, which should be based on the equal principles, equality, and Azerbaijan wants to the part of recognition of its the sovereignty and so on. But that's why the Putin's remarks in China is understandable, and it can be said that yes, it's a goodwill for further relations between the two countries. The two countries, and following that, as you know, the Minsk group has been cancelled and became an historic the issue, and Moscow's reaction was somehow the positive in that sense. So, but beyond that issue, beyond that remarks, the situation, the status quo on the ground, I mean, in the South Caucasus, has changed through the Second Karabakh War and Azerbaijan's victory and ongoing negotiation between two countries, I mean, Azerbaijan and Armenia, and also the Washington's involvement to the process, signing the Washington Declaration between two countries, caused quite enough decisive issues, steps towards the new reconfiguration in the South Caucasus. The main the issue was that the conflict between two countries, that the both countries has goodwill, and it can be said that they are on the way. The finalization of the peace negotiation process, signing the certain peace agreement. Of course, there are still certain requirements from Baku regarding the amendments on the constitution of Armenia.
Yes, and
However,
Mr. Valiev,
yeah.
sorry, just to interrupt you there. My next question is, some analysts argue that these incidences reflect a deeper structural tension between the two countries. Do you agree with that statement?
Yeah, it can be said, but as I mentioned before, the situation has changed. But I don't think that the relations between two countries could compare with Ukraine and Georgian cases. Azerbaijan's situation is different from the history, because Azerbaijan's foreign policy is based on the principle of neutrality and balance that comes from the president of Azerbaijan, Haidar Aliyev, and continued during the President Ilham Aliyev time, right? So the Azerbaijan case is different. Azerbaijan just interested in the cooperation, but in terms of the equality. Because Azerbaijan, the situation, as I mentioned before, the status quo in the region has changed after the Second Karabakh War, and Azerbaijan needs to diversify its relation, for example, in terms of China, and Washington's involvement to the process is a clear issue, because in terms of Zangezur, the corridor, President Aliyev mentioned in China as well. So I don't think that, yes, it will be like the Ukraine or Georgian case. No, but Azerbaijan just has clear and the requirements in terms of the recent escalations between two countries, in terms of the crash of airplanes and detain of the ethnic Azerbaijanis in Russia and so on. Just equal the treatment and the punishment, but Azerbaijan doesn't mean that the crash of airplane was intentional. No, but however, just require the equal, how to say, the treatment in terms of the relations. This
And
is
this,
what Azerbaijan side, how to say, the principles.
and just bearing on what you just said about Azerbaijan's growing ties with other partners, I just wanted to say you mentioned the US, I just wanted to find out, how is Moscow adjusting to Azerbaijan linking with the US, and how does that look to them?
Uh, you know, uh, as I mentioned again, let me repeat again, Azerbaijan's foreign policy differ from others. I mean, the former, the Soviet countries, after the Soviet dissolution of the Soviet Union, Azerbaijan adopted in foreign policy, I mean, the principles of neutrality and balance. So, for example, Azerbaijan, how to say, developed the independent the foreign policy in terms of the Moscow, the Brussels, and Washington. So recently, right after the Second Karabakh War, the negotiation process started in terms of the Moscow's and the Brussels and Washington's involvement in mediations. But however, Trump's the position that President Talib mentioned at the Washington summit that how to say, the broad the concrete proposals, the concrete contribution to the how to say, to solve the negotiate to the conflict between the countries and signing agreements. So they signed the certain declaration that consists of the certain the articles that would help facilitate to sign the final peace agreement. So in that case, I don't think that the Russia will have some, how to say, radical aggression against towards this the principle, because Russia's current potential maybe is not enough to how to say, finalize this process as a mediator, because it has quite a deepened problem in Ukraine, needs to be solved, but they had, that's how to say, the negotiation, something like that. The President Trump met the Vice President Vladimir Putin as well. So in that case, I don't think that we will witness how to say radical reaction from the Moscow regarding the Azerbaijan's relation with Washington.
And turning to connectivity now, how do you assess the role of the international north-south transport corridor in Azerbaijan-Russia cooperation?
I think it will be it will bring huge benefit to the region, as President Aliyev mentioned, or even the Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan mentioned in an interview with American the TV, that the region will be the transit in terms of the connectivity. So the Zengezur corridor, or let's say the corridor, will be decisive the issue to diversify the routes from the east to the west. So right after, if I'm not mistaken, right after the Second Karabakh War, the President Aliyev mentioned that yes, the Zengezur corridor will bring benefit for the countries of the region, 3+3, the three countries of the South Caucasus, Turkey, Russia, and Iran as well. I think that Russia will be integrated to this road as well as in the past, the signing up right after the signing of the century, the contract of century in 1994 by the leadership of former President Haidar Aliyev, the Russia integrated to the project. I think Russia will be integrated to that project as well. Again, we will see that.
Great. And what role do you think Russia's relations with Armenia play in shaping its approach to Azerbaijan today?
Uh, you know, uh, the relations between Armenia and Russia, the historically differ from Azerbaijan's relation with Moscow. Totally different, that we can find traces during the Second Karabakh War and after the Second Karabakh War. Azerbaijan has successfully succeeded, how to say, the withdrawal of the peacekeepers of the Russian peacekeepers from the Karabakh in 2024. So that's why we can understand the difference between the Armenia's relation with Russia and the Azerbaijan's relation with Moscow. Azerbaijan just as the leading the country in the South Caucasus just wants to, how to say, to guarantee the peaceful the involvement in the South Caucasus and has been trying to avoid any how to say, the possible the threat, the security of the region in terms of the different the escalations. And Armenians the how to say the relation with Moscow is different in comparison with Azerbaijan.
Thank you so much for your insight and for joining me this evening. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you,
Valiev.
Rini. It's my pleasure.
Thank you.